The colors of episode 5 of Trigun Stampede were stunning. We already talked about the color designer here, and it's evident in the sudden change of the sand color from yellow to red, which was hinted at the duel section in episode 1. This episode itself provides many payoffs in terms of setup, as Stampede begins to explore its next overarching theme for Act 2, God. With the introduction of Wolfwood in episode 4, we see the through line of the role of religion in the form of Stampede. Knives and the Doctor are using it as a means of furthering their own cause due to people's foolishness to worship something they can't understand, plants. A lot of what I couldn't talk about in episode 2 was picked up here in this episode, so let's point some stuff out. Did you notice that Wolfwood casually name-dropped Knives this episode when he was introduced after the Genora Rock incident? I doubt any of the cast would have mentioned Knives' name, so the end of the episode did bring this little mystery to a closed loop, as Wolfwood seems to be the successor of Doctor's experiments done about, I guess, 5 years ago, while Rollo, whose experiment was conducted potentially 20 years ago, seems to be a failure. We can see the difference in iterations of this experiment that they're running, as they aren't as clunky or mentally unstable compared to the streamlined nature of Wolfwood. Maybe the thing that the Doctor was riding on in Genora, or when we saw the scene with Knives back with the series of plants, maybe that is the in-between model that has no thinking capability. Wolfwood's superhuman strength was set up in episode 4 when De Niro makes a comment on how he was able to survive a car crash fine. We also see that Wolfwood in this episode drank this little vial that seemed to have the same effect as the liquid that flows through Rollo's tubes, giving him better regeneration. What a cruel world No Man's Land is set in. Rollo prayed for the wind to blow, and it was granted in the most sickening of ways. Rollo's modified form was able to produce steam that the land desperately needed, but it was just too late and too taxing. It's interesting that Vash looks exactly the same, even design-wise, in the baby picture of Rollo from supposedly 20 years ago. I'd hoped the hair or clothing would have changed slightly, but I guess the identical nature of this image is the shocking reveal. This town, just like Genora, doesn't have a plan, yet people still want to live there, even in a place that doesn't allow for humans to live easily. Rollo wanted to not be sacrificed and yelled Vash the Stampede throughout the episode, though it's only at the end that we realize it's a plea for help because of the unrealistic promise Vash made to the little boy decades ago. Humans give justification for their terrible actions, placing it on a higher being for salvation, yet this episode shows the pain that it brings to all parties included. Vash is short-sighted and only looks for the present, or tries to fulfill the dream of keeping things the same within the present, but he's always too late, as whether it's saving the kid who ran away or checking up on a dying plant, Vash can't fix the problems at the core or at the root, but he also doesn't see them holistically enough either, and I guess we'll continue to see this explored throughout this core of Stampede. Hiroshi Nishikiori was the episode director and storyboarder for episode 5 of Trigun Stampede. Now, this creator has done a lot of episode direction / storyboarding, so there was a lot to pick from. I just rewatched Trinity 7 episode 1, which is a series that I had previously dropped but couldn't remember exactly why I dropped it, and then watching the episode and seeing the excessive fan service-ish kind of stuff, I was turned away immediately. But there was a similar shot of hands reaching out and just missing, so that was a cool little connection between the two series. I also gave Azumanga Daioh, but it was too much quote-unquote crackhead energy for me to even get any insight, and looking through it, it seems that I don't have enough of an eye to tell what makes Nishikiori's work without checking Utena first, because I haven't seen that. Maybe one day I should get onto that series, but that's all for this episode. We'll see if we actually reach the end of Act 2, if the acts are supposed to be in a 3-episode structure next episode, and if the exploitation of God as a theme will continue in episode 6. Peace.